We've all watched the widespread devastation and loss of life in Haiti caused by last Tuesday's earthquake. It's a tragedy on a scale that words can't adequately describe. I've talked with a number of the people who've been down there. I've talked to people after they've come back, talked to people while they're there. And no matter how horrific the signs are that we've seen, it's even worse. It's the hemispheres' poorest country. History of repeated calamities. Some, of course, caused by natural disasters, but some by past corrupt and abusive governments. Now it faces an humanitarian emergency, but also reconstruction needs of daunting proportions. 3 million people affected. Hundreds of thousands left homeless. An estimated 100,000, perhaps twice that many lives lost. Countless children damaged, injured, orphaned. The Haitian government, which already has limited capacity, has been severely damaged. The UN mission in Haiti, the UN, which is doing such heroic work down there, suffered catastrophic losses of life, losses of their physical plant. Americans and people around the world have reacted with compassion and generosity. A massive relief operation is underway. We see search and rescue teams from the U.S. and other countries continue to pull survivors from the rubble more than a week after the buildings collapsed. The U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Departments of State and Defense, and many other federal agencies have personnel on the ground. And our military sends ships and planes and troops. We have responded as America does. We are, after all, the wealthiest, most powerful nation on earth. And it's not just a humanitarian, it is a moral issue. Morality requires us to help those, especially neighbors, so severely damaged. I've visited Haiti, and I am chairman of the Foreign Operations Subcommittee, and each year I've worked to increase U.S. assistance for Haiti. And I can tell you, Mr. President, this earthquake could not have come at a worse time. There is hope that Haiti, after recovering from 3 severe hurricanes in 2008 that left much of the country's infrastructure damaged or destroyed, was poised to finally make some real strides toward political stability and economic development. All of us who cared for Haiti, who worked on Haiti issues, thought finally things are turning around. Last Tuesday, in a few terrifying minutes, that hope was buried in rubble. But the immediate focus, of course, is saving lives, helping those people who have no place to live and no way to support themselves. And I do want to thank, and I do want to note the thanks that should be due to the many humanitarian relief organizations, as well as to the United Nations and OAS, the Pan American Health Organization, the International Committee of the Red Cross, other international organizations, countries that have come here to help from around the world. They mobilized quickly. We've seen their doctors and their nurses and other relief personnel work day and night since shortly after the earthquake hit. They are doing an outstanding job under the worst possible conditions. I want to express my condolences to the Haitian people and my admiration for them. They have shown remarkable fortitude and patience in the wake of this catastrophe. And even in the midst of so much misery, there are already glimpses of a recovery. And to the families of others who died or suffered severe, lasting injuries, the American citizens were in Haiti, several of whom were Vermonters who had relatives in Vermont. They lost their lives when the buildings collapsed. All our hearts go out to them. How much we wish we could turn the clock back and bring them home. Now, I know that a great deal is being done to alleviate the suffering, But I think that there are important lessons from this experience that will enable us to respond more quickly and more effectively when the next disaster strikes, and we'd be Pollyannish to think the next disaster won't strike. It's more than a week after the earthquake. Many people left homeless have yet to receive food or water, and they have no shelter. The Central America, Caribbean region is among the most disaster-prone in the world due to the many volcanoes and earthquake fault lines and tropical storms. There are things, and we'll learn from this, there are things we can do to be better prepared, to deliver aid more efficiently next time. And this is not to detract from the heroic efforts of those not only from the United States, but from non-government organizations and from other countries who have worked against almost insurmountable odds to deliver the aid they already have. All of us are concerned that some humanitarian organizations have been unable to obtain access to the Port-au-Prince airport for several days. Many tons of relief supplies are reportedly been flown instead to the Dominican Republic, and they're trucked by land to Port-au-Prince. It's not only expensive and time-consuming, but it's needed now. I'm aware that the Port-au-Prince airport can accommodate only a limited number of flights per day, but it's my understanding that number now exceeds 120. I've asked our U.S. military to take immediate steps to ensure these organizations have reasonable access for their relief flights. Again, I don't say this to detract from what they've done. They have worked against horrible odds. But if you're a child, dehydrated and dying, and food and water is only a few miles away, and you're a parent of that child, you want that there then. Fortunately, we have had the U.S. government, our military, the UN, devastated they've been by this, and others, have had to basically organize their own government, their own methods of getting through. And Mr. President, behind all that, though, has been the outpouring of generosity by America.